And moving on, over the New York front, the Ukrainian forces are still active in this region here, with fighting reported in Druzhba, near Druzhba, as well as Sumy. Russian counterattack at Mayorsk. So this is the battle is now raging around this area here. I don't think the Russians are going to attack into Torets. So this is just going to be skirmishes. And now moving into the Bakhmut front, this is Bakhmut city. In the southern flank of the Bakhmut front, the Russian forces continue their usual attack at Klishchiivka, Andriivka, and Kodyomivka. So nothing new to report over here. Over in the northern flank, the Russians are continuing to attack Budanivka, and there seems to be a refresh attack towards Chasiv. According to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, they mentioned there is fighting east of Chasiv. And based on the information that I read, like Ryba, they're talking about pushing enemy defense near Budanivka. There seems to be some kind of a refresh attempt from the Russians to be pushing towards Chasiv over here. And so we will continue to monitor and see if this is some kind of a very, very serious push. Definitely geolocations are showing a lot of artillery airstrike and Lancet drone strike actions in this area here. I didn't plan in all the geolocations because it's kind of pointless. They are not near the front line, so it doesn't add much. And other than that, the front line at Ivanivske have not changed. Other than these two geolocations that confirm that which invalidates the Ukrainian claims, there is however artillery strike on Ukrainian position on the western part of Ivanivske, confirming Ukrainian presence remains at this area here. And I did mention in yesterday's conclusion why the Russians will not capture the entire of Ivanivske. This is actually a poison chalice. Taking Ivanivske will result in more Russian deaths because of the strategic or the geolocation, or the geography of Ivanivske, because the Ukrainians have strong advantage if the Russians go all the way and capture Ivanivske. And this will allow the Ukrainians to attack them in multiple directions, which will just cause defending to be really hard to do. The Russians holding this line is actually more advantageous for the Russians, and they can hold this line forever, and the Ukrainians can do nothing about it. So that's all for the Bakhmut front. We move into Siversk front. Over the Siversk front, the Russian forces are attacking in the Bilohorivka in the Luhansk region, overcome Okanyamske, Sperne, as well as Rodolivka. Rocket artillery was hitting Rodolivka. This is geolocated in the video footage. There is some fighting reported at Serebianka, but I'm not sure where, probably in the Serebianske forestry. And there is multiple geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting hit by also rocket artillery systems. So this is the current strategic situation. The Russians are making certain push or certain attacks in the Siversk region to also stretch the Ukrainian forces. As I mentioned, this is now the grand strategy. Tentatively, at this moment, the Russians are trying to stretch the Ukrainian forces. They are attacking across all the front line, but I don't believe that any of this attack is actually a real push. I think the real push is still at Adievka, but if the Ukrainians slack in any of this front line and let the Russians break through in these small attacks, then the Russians, of course, will double down on it. So they are not going to waste it, I believe.